Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I'm Jason, as always, my co-host, the voice of MMA in Utah, Mr. Zack Partridge, back again.
Round four
for today.
We could do one more. I've already shown I can go 5 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Hello. Well, we had to jump back on because we've been going back and forth talking about the UFC Heavyweight Division. So we got to have our little rant. And you brought up some very good points that you felt we should talk about on the podcast. So here we are, Zack.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we don't have any fights to break down. No DraftKings. Sorry. There are. Hey, wait. Go watch PFL tonight. Clay Collard.
I was going to say, we got our boy Clay Collard fighting tonight. Yeah. Semifinals.
Go watch it.
Let's go punch that ticket into the finals, baby. Let's do it. We did have a couple really good fighter interview podcasts. Went really well. Good, some good young up and coming fighters, man. And once again, we're going to echo what Zack said the other day. If you are fighting on the Fierce card or the upcoming Steel Fist card, if you don't hear from us, still reach out to us. We both have day jobs. We're extremely busy. We try to reach out to people, but these guys that you see getting scheduled on here are getting scheduled because their managers and their coaches are reaching out to us. So reach out to us. We'll get you scheduled. I promise we will get everybody on that's on a local card. You guys will always take precedence over anybody else. So hit us up. We will get you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't think of a time that we've had something that like what's the dynamic of the UFC right or the heavyweight division right now.
It's getting really good.
Like we've always talked about how the heavyweight division is just it's shallow. Like there's just not enough good guys there. And now all of a sudden it's like it's getting kind of like murky waters, almost like the welterweight division. Like it's kind of turning into a mess. There's so many there's getting to the point where 1 or 2 more guys get into the mix and it's like, it's going to become a log jam.
We're starting to see the effects of some of these guys that have been training for a long time. We're starting to see that trickle effect coming into the heavyweight division. Now we've seen it in some of the other weight classes already, but now you're looking at guys like Tom Aspinall. You're looking at a guy like Cyril Gain.
I forgot about Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. So you're starting to see guys that have started early, have a little bit of a background, and now they're jumping in there versus just being a big, strong guy that can come in there and knock people out.
So first of all, we have Francis. He's probably the scariest dude to ever be in the UFC.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
It's probably the scariest. You have Gain, who we've never had a heavyweight that moves like he does. Never.
No.
Almost to the point where like you almost think like he might be like the perfect fighter. He might dang near be, right? And oddly enough, in a wrestling dominant league where, most top tier guys have a wrestling base. Yeah. He's the anomaly. He's so great. He's seems to maybe even be the anomaly. He hasn't fought an elite wrestler yet, but he's pretty good on the ground. He's shown that he has submission wins.
Yeah.
And then you have the greatest light heavyweight of all time, most people's greatest fighter of all time, who's now entering it and who, I don't know if you saw it, DC says he actually think John Jones is the person that has the best chance to beat somebody like Gain because he's so athletic and stuff like that. And then, by the way, afterthought, Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight in the UFC's ever seen, is just hanging out, waiting for his title fight whenever he's ready again. And he's even agreed, I'll fight John Jones. And John Jones doesn't want to fight him.
Which is weird because that's the fight I want to see. I want to see Jones and Stipe.
To me, that
more than anybody else.
Oh my gosh.
Like and 2 of the greatest fighters of all time. They're arguably 2 of the greatest in their divisions, right? I mean, Stipe, greatest heavyweight of all time. John Jones, there's no debate. He's arguably the greatest of all time, but he definitely is the greatest light heavyweight of all time. And that's the fight I want to see. I don't know if I agree with DC's take on Jones being the toughest fighter. I get where he's coming from, but
well, he's the one that I think Gain doesn't have a decisive speed and athletic advantage over.
But will he though? Because Jones is going to come in heavier than he's normally fought, and he hasn't fought at that weight.
We're not positive on that, but we can kind of only just go off of what we've seen of John Jones.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the bounciness and how light Gain is. I feel pretty confident in saying I'm pretty sure John can at least match that.
See, I don't know. I'll be a little cautious on that because, yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm just saying, from what I've seen from John in the past, here's the scariest scenario ever, right? For all the other heavyweights.
Yeah.
Motivated killer instinct John Jones comes in.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah.
And if he's going to have success at the heavyweight division, he's going to have to go back into these fights of finishing dudes inside a round or two. He's going to have to. Does he? I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, there's still a chance John Jones never even fights again. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I only put maybe 10, 20% on it, but I think there's a legitimate chance we just never see John Jones fight again.
The disrespect for Stipe. I mean, what do you do with Stipe? Does he wait and fight the winner for the interim and the title? Does he wait?
If I was Stipe, I would get on top of a mountain and be like, I want Francis right now. There was no need for an interim. I'm the number one contender still. He was ranked number one, right? Still after that.
I mean, he's two right now just because Gain is the interim champ. He's like, but I've been touted by the president of the UFC as the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. And I successfully defended that belt more times consecutively than anybody. I want my respect and I want my rematch with Ngannou right now. I think I've done what I need to close the gap. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter anybody else's opinions on whether that can happen or not. Yeah.
If he does, he's earned that.
I agree, man.
And by the way, Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevens says he thinks he could be the UFC champ in 18 months. And I think 18 months is too soon, but 3 years, he might not be wrong.
In the UFC, and the division's just going to get better. Francis is just getting better. Gain's going to get better the more experience he has.
And I still think Curtis Blades might be the answer to solve Gain.
He could be. Yeah, we talked about it the other day. We had a little back and forth on that, and you could be right about that. Like,
it's one thing to wrestle, but like Curtis Blades is an elite wrestler, not like Gable Stevenson elite wrestling, but he's the best wrestler in the heavyweight division.
But does he get that? Is he going to get that shot though? Because he's sitting at 4 right now.
Blades is
sitting at 4, and he just lost to Lewis.
Right, but the thing with Curtis Blades is the way he lost to Lewis. Okay, he's only lost to Francis and Derek Lewis. That is it. That is the list of people that has beaten
Francis twice.
You know what'd be interesting? Stipe and Curtis Blades.
We can't forget about Fiji. Can't forget about Fiji.
I wouldn't bet against him.
I'm not betting against you, Fiji.
I'll bet that Jason and I could figure out a sparring. I bet we could figure out sparring with Francis for you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Roman, are you paying attention? You watching this one, Roman? Remember this guy's name right here. Yeah, Curtis Blades, dude's got wins over Overeem, Hunt, Olenek, Junior Dos Santos, Volkov. Dude, if he would have beat Lewis, he's right there. He's right there in line for next up too.
Who is?
Blades.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If he beats Lewis, he's right there. He's next.
Yeah. Oh, if he would have beat Lewis, he would have been, that interim fight would have been gaining Curtis Blades. Absolutely.
So you said you like Stipe and Blades?
That is interesting. That is fun.
That's
isn't it?
Too. How motivated is Stipe going to be when he comes back? Or do you think maybe he's just content with where he's at?
If I am Stipe, there's two routes. And it depends on how you take it. If I'm Stipe though, I'm going, no. You guys don't make me go fight people that are ranked beneath me. You guys, I want my belt back. Yeah. Give me whoever the current champ is. I'll go fight Francis again. He said he wants his trilogy fight with Francis, and he deserves it. He should get it. And then he even said, you know what? I'll take the big money fight against John Jones too. But John said no. You know who looks the worst out of John's the one who looks the worst out of all this.
Yeah, he does. John Jones.
Because we both said too, it's not like John's putting on good weight right now. He looks
look good.
Thick.
Yeah, he doesn't look very good.
Oh yeah, Mark Gonzalez is coming on.
Oh, he's coming on.
Oh yeah.
Slim and trim Mark Gonzalez.
Slim and trim. Dude, we invited his opponent on too, but his opponent hasn't accepted my Facebook group.
We'll get him on there. We'll get him on. So, all right, outside of the heavyweight division, there was another fight that they're thinking about possibly making that we saw on the social media platforms.
Yeah. Hey, Mark Coates. Great post.
Just a great post. Mark looks great, by the way. He's been training. He looks good.
Because there's
really good.
Yeah, his comeback's coming. But the more that I think about it, I love Frankie Edgar, and I've always loved Frankie Edgar. And I even thought that Frankie Edgar was like, it was everybody talking about when Connor was on his ride and everything. I was like, I actually think if anybody should be mad, Jose Aldo, like that sucks, but like he lost. Chad Mendez sucks, he lost. Frankie's the one that I kind of felt like Connor ducked. You know?
Yeah.
He was a former 155 champ, and now he's down at 135. And like, he's not, but he's not horrible. Going to fight in hopefully November. Well, they're not having a card in November, so hopefully December, George. But I would love to see George in the cage again. And you will be, then you could come on the podcast. But again, so back to Frankie Edgar, and I love Frankie Edgar, but he's 39 years old, dude. And Sean O'Malley, this is not a sport for old men, and two, especially not in the lighter, where the lighter weight classes where the lighter weight classes where athleticism is huge. And I hate to say it, I just think those young bucks they're a little much for Frankie Edgar. Am I crazy?
No, that the first thing I thought, because trust me, I am not on the Sean O'Malley bandwagon.
And I used to be, but the more I see him, the more I dislike him.
I don't, and I would love to see Frankie smash him, because I'm in the same boat as you. I love Frankie. It's a bad matchup for him, especially after coming off that loss against Sandhagen, which O'Malley's bigger, isn't he, than Sandhagen?
I think they're about the same size. I think they're within it.
Sandhagen's 5'11".
So, and O'Malley's 6 foot. So they're within an inch.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the size, I'm not just going off that knockout.
Yeah.
I'm not just going off that knockout. I'm going off of, because he brought up, he said he lit up Yair Rodriguez. That was 4 years ago. 35 is like a big difference in athleticism between 35 and 39.
Yeah.
And it was also at 145. And now he's even smaller now, cutting down to 135. There's a huge statement to be said. The only thing that's truly undefeated in sports is Father Time. He wins every time.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
And I said it on the post. Father Time is tapping on Frankie Edgar's shoulder right now.
Well, by the time if they fight, he'll be 40 by the time they fight.
So
George 40 is not old, but when you get to that level of competition, there's a big difference. Difference.
Could Frankie Edgar walk into any regional promotion and mop the floor with it? Absolutely. But you're talking about the top 15 in the entire world at a weight class. I'm afraid it would end up like the Eddie Whalen fight.
Fiji just said it. Might end up just like O'Malley's last fight, where he just picks him apart, punishes him for 3 full rounds.
Yeah, I
want it. I would love to see Edgar just smash.
He just says it's wrestling, but it's just like, dude, this is not Frankie Edgar of 2013, because that Frankie Edgar, I think, smashes Sean O'Malley.
Sean's not even in the rankings yet, right?
Nope. He was, and then he lost to Cheeto Vera.
This guy has all this hype around him, he's not even in the top 15 of the UFC.
It's because they're feeding him bums.
And they're feeding him bums. I don't know. I have a problem with it, but
not that the last guy was a bum, but
he's definitely promotable. Like, he's social media super smart with getting his t-shirts up there and selling his t-shirts. Like, he's checking all the boxes as far as that. But I don't get the push from the UFC on the kid. Yet.
He's electric. He's super charismatic. He is. I mean, I've never seen anybody pretend to dribble through their legs while landing punches on their opponent. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Prime Edgar murks O'Malley. I believe that. But guess what? Frankie Edgar is about 12 years past his prime.
Jeff just said they're building him. If you're looking at the division, so they'd be fighting at 135 or 145? 145?
No, it's time out.
35. What division are they fighting in?
135. O'Malley's a 135er, and now Frankie Edgar's fighting down at 135.
I saw somebody commented on there that they didn't think O'Malley would beat anybody in the top 15. I don't know if I agree with that. I think he does beat some of those guys. I think if you start getting up into the
Pedro Munoz, I think O'Malley beats him right now.
You think he beats a Munoz?
Yeah. And I like Pedro Munoz.
He beats Edgar. He probably beats Cody Garbrandt, honestly. I hate to say it. I think that's a coin flip. I really do. It just depends on. I think that's a coin flip. I think he beats Marlon Moraes.
I do not.
He'd probably have trouble with. I'd like to actually see him. Cody Stamann. Give him Cody Stamann.
That would be.
Give him Cody. Fight. Yeah, give him Cody Stamann, or even Josh Lavili.
I think he beats Assunção, but because Assunção's been around a long time. Jimmy Rivera would be an interesting fight too. Know what? Feed him to Merab Dariush.
Or run it back with Vera. I'd be okay with that too. Yeah, Garbrandt did drop down to flyweight. Who's he fighting again? He's fighting
Kai Kara France.
Kai Kara France.
That's a good fight. That's actually like I not just a good fight. Like, I love that fight. That is perfect for him.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it, brother.
I love George.
Kai's a great fight for him because Kai's going to stand. He's not going to sit back and try to. He ain't taking him down.
And Kai could knock him out.
Kai could very well knock him out. Those city kickboxing guys are no joke. Mm-hmm. No joke.
Mm-hmm.
Got lots of cool stuff coming up.
So here's another interesting one for you.
Okay.
Where does Vicente Luque fit into the welterweight division right now?
Dude, you gotta. I mean, he
is it the answer to every question? Leon Edwards. Who should Gilbert Burns fight next? Who should Vicente Luque fight next? Who should Jorge Masvidal fight next? The answer on all those is Leon Edwards. And Leon's just going to sit back until the UFC takes his ranking away again.
Well, Vicente should fight. It's tough. I think Vicente should get the shot, the winner of Colby and Kamara, even over Leon. And I hate to say that because I like Leon, but he's just done more, man. Unless Leon takes that fight, then give him and Leon the fight for the contender. Him and Leon fight. Gilbert, unfortunately, I think will have to take the back seat.
Which is so cool because they're teammates. And Gilbert was cornering and cheering for Vicente Luque to get to the top too, which
I will never fade Vicente Luque again. Not after what he did at Chiesa. That was impressive. You're talking about top 5 guy that we both said on here we'd like to see. We don't think he would beat Kamara, but we both said he's up there with these guys. And Vicente's he's been on a tear, man.
And we've never really seen him being dominated either.
No. You got Colby and Kamaro's in November or October. When is that fight? November, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they made it for November. You can't. If I'm Luque, I don't sit back and wait because you're probably talking another 6 months after that. You got to book Luque and Edwards. That's the fight. Book it. How do you see that fight? How would you see that fight going? Do you have a winner?
That's a hard one to pick.
Be a very hard one to pick. If it gets to the ground, Luke just he snatches an arm or a neck.
I think so too, but I think Edwards is a little bit better on the feet.
Yeah, I think he's a lot better on the feet. I will say that if he can keep on his feet, Edwards wins.
I don't think you know what I'd be interested to see if Edwards has like the ability to like put somebody to sleep. I haven't really seen that.
Yeah,
but Luque does.
Luque definitely does. And Leon's he's a huge welterweight.
Luque's big. Too. Luque's
how big is Luque?
He's big too, dude.
Because Edwards is 6'2" with a 74-inch reach. Actually, Luque has a longer reach. He's 5'11" with a 76-inch reach. Dude, that's the fight. That is the fight. What do you think about the little back and forth between Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier?
How is Nate Diaz still relevant?
People want to see him, man. I want to see him.
What?
I love what Dustin Poirier is doing, though.
Yeah, dude, just get
taking
paid.
These money fights. Get paid.
Easy fights. Dude, Dustin mops Nate Diaz.
I know he wants the title. And I know he'd love anything more than to get that title, but I think he's starting to realize I'm a big draw. I can get these shots, and I'm fighting guys like Connor, and I'm fighting a guy like Diaz, and
who quite frankly, they're about as gimmies get in the MMA. You're Dustin Poirier, and you are unquestionably one of the top 3 155ers on the planet. Yeah. Unquestionably, unarguably, he's one of the top 3 155ers on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're going to feed me these guys that aren't even top 10, 15
and get paid
millions for it. Like top tier main event stuff.
Spotlight all over him because of who he's fighting.
Yeah. Oh, and every time he does that, his freaking hot sauce sales go through the roof.
Yeah. Dude, he's winning. He's winning.
He's breaking the game right now. And so what did you think about Justin Gaethje's prediction? Did you see that?
Yeah.
He predicted that Poirier would beat Oliveira, which I agree with, and that he would beat Michael Chandler, which I agree with. And then he said, then you'll see a rematch sometime next summer between like one of the most violent 155 fights of all time, Poirier Gaethje 2. Dude, that fight is
nuts. Hate it.
And if Gaethje wins and you set up the trilogy fight again for those two, oh my gosh.
That's a huge fight too.
And Oliveira's talking about if he wins, going back down to 145 and becoming champ at 145, 155. Trying to do the TJ Dillashaw.
He kind of resurrected his career when he moved up. I don't know if that's a good move.
But I think he beats Volkanovski. I think Oliveira beats Volkanovski.
What's up with the disrespect for Volkov, man? Like, he gets no respect. Who was it that just said, I want to fight Max Holloway last week? We just talked about it. Who was it that said that?
Oh,
they didn't even recognize
AJ McKee.
Yeah, AJ McKee. Yeah, I'll go in and fight Max Holloway. It's like, wait a minute, Max isn't the champ. Volkov's the champ. Like, everybody's just discredited him. Jesse, what's up, big dog?
Oh, what's up?
Hey, Jesse, did you convince the wife yet? Is the wife convinced yet? Are we going to see Jesse Solomon back in the cage? That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
That's all we want to know. We're going to keep working this angle, Jesse.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that Volkanovski beats Brian Ortega? Yeah, see, exactly. That's why. Because you want to go Brian Ortega, and people think, boom.
We get Jesse back in the cage, baby. Thank you, Mrs. Solomon. We appreciate it. Yikes. We'll have you on the podcast too.
Again, absolutely.
No, but dude, Ortega looked so good his last fight.
Unbelievable his last fight.
But
Volkanovski also looked, and he hung and looked really good. Whether you think he won the fight or not,
that's what I'm saying.
He looked good against Max Holloway.
So is he getting a little, is Ortega getting more of the pump up because of the way his last fight was, and Volkanovski not getting enough credit for the controversy with who could have won? It was such a close fight. like, is there a little recency bias where people are looking at Volkov and like, he
Maybe.
probably shouldn't have won that fight, but he did, and he whether you agree with it or not, and whether you thought Max Holloway should have won the fight, the point is we're still talking about that fight going to a split decision with one of the greatest of all time. I mean,
but I didn't even see that's where I'm salty because I didn't even think it was a split decision. I
didn't think so either.
I thought Max clearly won 3 rounds.
I agree.
So,
but still
okay.
Volkov was still there to make it interesting. To make
and regardless, he's gone 10 rounds with Max Holloway. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that.
And Ortega looked freaking, he's just looked good.
Just besides the mega mind bald head, let's pray we never have to see that again because that was creepy for me. I think that Ortega beats Volk. And if here's the other thing. You know what I think it is for Volk, why he doesn't get enough credit. I'm going to say this as I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
I'm not positive that Alexander Volkanovski, I think it's a little bit tough to get like the respect of all the fans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you don't really finish guys. Okay. So let me just go back. Remember, this guy's 22-1.
Okay.
He's 22-1. He enters the UFC in 2016, November. So end of 2016. He beats Kasayua, some guy that's not in the UFC anymore, by ground and pound in the second round. Mizuto Hiritoa by unanimous decision. Shane Young by unanimous decision. Jeremy Kennedy, never heard of him. He was undefeated at the time, but Jeremy Kennedy by ground and pound. Then Darren Elkins, unanimous decision. Chad Mendez with a knockout. And then Chad retired, just came back. And then Aldo, Max, and Max. Decision.
Look who he's
No,
though.
I know, I get it. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying if look, for example, me and you, right? Not the biggest Kamaru Usman fans in the world. But then all of a sudden he starts finishing dudes and knocking dudes out. And it's like, oh, dang, Kamaru Usman. Okay. You know what I mean? You got to be a finisher.
What if we see a new version of Volkanovski that we haven't seen? What if he makes the changes and we see a different Volkanovski against Ortega?
Then I think he starts getting the respect kind of the same way that Usman did.
Yeah. How do you see
exactly Fiji? Yes.
Yeah.
Fiji. Yes, exactly. I'm saying if you want an answer for why he doesn't get the respect, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Because I mean, look at Petr Yan, right? Jose Aldo and him had a great fight or whatever, but he eventually put him away in the 5th round.
Yeah. True.
Viciously.
True.
He's a finisher. He was gonna put away Aljamain Sterling. He's a finisher.
How do you see
Kamaru Usman, finisher. John Jones, what rose him to stardom? Finisher. And then as soon as he starts edging out these decisions, people are get and don't really like John Jones so much. Right? Like, dude, we want finishes. We want finishers. It's why Dana says don't leave it in the hands of the judges, and it's why there's a win bonus, because he wants to incentivize people to finish.
Yeah.
Because that's what the fans want to see. You know, you look at Max. Max puts people away with his volume and his punches.
Yes.
Right? He's put Jose Aldo away twice. You look at Brian Ortega. Why did people love him so much? Dude, he had an undefeated record at some point while losing more rounds than winning. Why? Because he'd pull off finishes. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you're going with Ortega? Or are you undecided yet?
I think Ortega has more paths to victory, and as we've seen, usually the guy that has more paths to victory wins. Usually, I think Ortega, and I actually feel pretty confident saying Ortega has more paths to victory to win. because dude, Ortega was a zombie in that Max Holloway fight. Finally the corner and the doctor had to stop it, and he wanted to keep fighting, and he meant it when he said to get me to quit, you'd have to kill me in there, and I believe him when he said that. He has zero quit in him. He's one of those guys, and I don't know if Alex can beat up Ortega the way that Max did with his striking, and I'm pretty positive that you're not going to see Brian Ortega get submitted.
No.
I mean, I just take that prop bet and just throw it in the garbage. It ain't happening.
I like it.
But if he does try and wrestle and lay him on the ground, he's T-City for a reason. And if he wraps those legs around it, it is over. And his guillotine is sick.
Yeah, it is.
So it's just like, and then his boxing looked incredible against Korean Zombie.
It looked.
So it's like, I'm just like, I think he has more paths to victory. I don't think Volk knocks him out. I think Volk has to win by a decision. And I think that Brian could win by decision. But if it goes decision, I'm probably leaning that it's because Volkanovski controlled everything.
Yeah.
But knockout or submission, if it gets finished, I would say Ortega has the advantage in both. Ortega was the first person ever to finish Frankie Edgar. Make this conversation.
I remember. Yeah.
I was in the arena. I mean, I make this conversation come full circle with Frankie Edgar, but I mean, it's like he's got that element to him where he can do things that people haven't done before.
Yeah, it's crazy. Max, love him or hate him, makes his victory decisive. He didn't just up on him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. Spot on, Fiji. Spot on, man.
Yeah, Fiji.
Fiji gonna have to start his own podcast.
Whoa.
Hey, Fiji, you need to come on before your fight in the next week or two. We need to have you back. On.
Yep.
All right.
That was fun.
I got my rant off. You got your rant off. We're good for the day. We got fighter interviews coming up. We got a couple people coming on Monday. We will get the Fierce main event. Is that the main event? Did they announce the main event?
It's gotta be.
Carson Hardman, Steve Seiler. I'm pretty sure they're going to end up being the main event. We will get both those guys locked in, get both those guys on. Seiler said he's down. Hardman, I know, is down. Yeah, super excited. Steel Fist guys, all you guys that are fighting on September 18th, if you didn't listen to the beginning of this, reach out to us.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining in. We appreciate everybody's support. Love you guys. We out.
We are out.